Oh yeah, you're very optimistic, but it's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I am.
No, I salute you first for wearing a guayabera.
Thank you.
But it reminds me that the summer is coming, and I have a few in my closet. I never wear them. But anyway, comments about your project. I think you were tackling a necessity in Cuba. There's no question about it, and especially in Havana. There's no question about that. As part of your optimism, I don't have too many relatives living in Cuba, but believe me, if they know about the salary you're going to be paying, maybe you're going to have doctors working for you in that place, for sure. No, I think you did something that is really important, and I want you to just elaborate about that a little bit. You said that you made a survey. At the beginning of your presentation, you made a survey about what one of the most critical issues there Cuban population is facing nowadays. And I wondered, how do you accomplish that? I mean, if you elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yes. Yes. I did a survey with two main questions because I know this problem is so bad. So one question was, I didn't want to be biased, so I didn't put how bad is the problem. So I put, how do you consider is this situation in Cuba? So many people fill out the survey. I didn't the survey to be biased, so I tried to get my friends from Cuba because I finished high school there, so I have many friends. I tried to get as many people living in Cuba involved with the survey. It was easy because it was only a link. I didn't use it Qualtrics. It's a system, it's kind of expensive, but I have access to it by my student membership at the University of Florida, so I use that system. I did the question, I put it, and then I share it with my friends.
Do you remember exactly the questions that were asked?
Yes, two questions.
Okay, what was that?
How about, I have one at the beginning of the project, I can say, how do you consider is the situation in relation to solid waste management in Cuba right now? And the second question is, where are you from? In order to make the map with the numbers. So if people from Havana think that the situation is great, I wanted to put, okay, Havana is great. I'm from Ciudad de Avila. I know that it's kind of normal. Maybe when you get a different view, if I go there now, I think, okay, the situation is critical, it's a disaster. But for people living there, it's normal because maybe they go to Las Tunas and they see a lot of trash on the corners. And so I wanted to have the people living the situation right now, I want to have their input in my project. So that's what it wasn't easy. It took time because, I mean, to get connection to the internet is a problem, but my friends, and usually young people are like, they understand better the internet, and it was, I mean, it was good in that sense. Yeah.
So Luis, what are you studying?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering, okay. Can you go back to the first slide where you have the pictures?
Yes.
So, good. Now, I want you to be honest. Do you think those pictures are definitely real?
Yeah.
But do you think the problem of those pictures is because there is no factory to process everything that you see in the pictures?
Because of that, I try to explain about the broken window theory. The problem is a mix between the society doesn't care about helping at this point, and because there is not a place to process that mixtures, including the lack of equipment and recycling facilities. It's a mix, not only because there are not the facility to process the mix, because there is not the full program to attack this problem.
So I think the facility exists, not the type of facility that you say and the salaries that you're mentioning, but I think that exists. I think the problem is with transportation. The reason for those pictures, the reason for the garbage to be there for weeks is because there is no transportation. Not necessarily because there is no factory doing recycling, because actually it's not only about recycling, it's just about collecting the garbage. That's a real problem. And that's why you see a lot of garbage everywhere in Cuba. So I think that you're trying to bring it's a nice project, but I'm missing like the engineering component, if it's supply management, if it's transportation, but I'm missing the engineering component of more than a real problem. Is that for you as an engineer, is that what exactly is that the engineering component that is going to fix the problem, more than just saying, yeah, let's build a factory. Yeah.
Based on my knowledge, and I mean, I may be wrong about it, but based on my knowledge, the only facility processing this type of material is in San Miguel de Padrón. in an area called the Diezmero, and they are processing the materials, only crushed concrete. The situation is so bad that they are using that crushed concrete as a cement. They are mixing with cement and then they are building. Not building foundations, but they are building, like laying bricks and doing that stuff. On my knowledge, and from former professor of the CUHI, from where I got these numbers, they don't know about the facility doing this type of process. In my province, I'm not from Havana, it doesn't exist.
Well, the second piece is to process what you get, but that's not going to fix the problem of garbage on the streets.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm trying to make a compound, implementing the ideas to get the population in that, and also the collection. I agree with your point. I agree, but I don't think it's only transportation. Right now, Cuba got 92 trucks from Japan, and they are not going to solve the problem. We can introduce 1,000 trucks, and the problem is not going to be solved because of the lack of a structure to make them work. Because people driving the truck driver, they don't care about that. And the trucks, the streets are so bad that the trucks are going to be destroyed in 2-3 years. So, I mean, I respect your point, but I don't think it's a transportation problem.
I don't know if I have a question. I have a couple of comments, and I think it's not only for you, for all the participants, for all the engineers. We sometimes focus on the problem as a technical problem, and I think what your approach is, there's a social impact to whatever we do, whether there's a road and whether the road is made out of asphalt or cobblestones. We impact everything. We impact society. And I happen to agree with you that the broken window theory is absolutely correct. When you go to a neighborhood, you don't care. People throw away. Even people, highly educated people, that they won't do it somewhere else, they'll do it there. So your approach of looking at the technical plus the social impact, in addition to the economic impact, we engineers, we need to look at all the aspects, because this is very important. Whatever we do in life, in society, it will impact not only us, but future generations. Those who built whatever they built 200 years ago, we don't know the names, but they impact us today. So I congratulate you on that. But another comment is, have you thought of, even though it may not be feasible today with the current government, but the byproduct of this plant, like, for example, the crushed concrete, this could be used to do cobblestones or other things that will actually be a residual income for the facility, and they will be used even in a system, a feudal system that they have in Cuba. They can use those things for recycling for other uses. So that would be an additional income. Yeah. And one more thing. I work for a company that the president of the company agreed to pay the highest salaries possible. I was paid a lot of money for my job, and I asked him, why do you pay like twice as much as you pay any other company? I was so happy. I said, because I will squeeze you out 3 times as much. If you do that with your employees, whatever it is, you can always get the very best. And it doesn't matter whether the job is a menial job like sorting things or education. You need to pay the people the very best. I think you get a best example.
I was planning to make a point about the reuse of the material on the environmental side, but I didn't have time.
Luis, I commend you on your enthusiasm. I want to ask a couple of questions because I'm not understanding the economics, and I don't want to get into the specifics of the dollar analysis, if you will, but you said that you were going to have an internet-based or an online-based system of reservations for people for clients, but I'm not sure who the clients are. And are these people that are renovating properties, or if I live on 23rd Street in Havana, and I see a lot of debris, I just say, hey, let me go, Luis, and come and bring me one of those trash bins and come fill it up. Well, if there's no charge to me, I don't care. I'm just going to call. Come pick it up. Yeah. So what is it? Are you collecting dollars up front? I never saw anything there that said, I'm collecting this much from the people when they make the reservation. And also with the byproducts later, as to you have a system of waiting for the right time to sell the product, if you will. I don't know that you can rely on a real-time market, or you might have waste or sitting on the property for quite a bit. So could you comment on both
Yes.
of those sides, at the beginning and at the end?
Yep.
Thank you.
Going from the end then to the beginning. My plan, or again, how I have organized it in my brain is the storage, have the products there at least from 1 to 3 weeks. That will be the maximum time. And based on that analysis, how the market is going to fluctuate during that time and try to sell at the perfect point. Going to the other point, that was another point that was on my desk thinking about for a few hours. I want to make this accessible from the huge construction. Right now, they are only building hotels, but I don't think that I can, me personally, that I can do this facility right now. If we were to do it right now, the main customer would be the hotels going on, building in Cuba right now, but I also want to make it accessible for people doing like small repairs. If we're doing a small repair, there is no way that as a homeowner you have the knowledge or the ability to do a small repair without a permit, without the full drawing of or plan of what you plan to do. So I think that people need to request permits to do remodelation or to do any repair, and based on that they can request also like a small, depending on how much trash debris they are planning to collect. Based on that size, volume, they can request a smaller dumpster, or if it's a huge project like a demolition of a house, they can get like a full dumpster. That's kind of my idea at this point.
And what would you be charging these people when they make the reservation?
I'm planning to introduce the program at no charge for the people collecting the material, base all the profit on selling the residuals, because the program is proved to be 98% like perfect here in the United States. So I'm sure I can get about the 95%, like recycle 95% of the material coming in, and from the sale of those material, the profit on my economic analysis is based on that. Because the culture in Cuba, if I charge a person to do that, they are going to go with the truck at night and they are going to deposit the trash on a landfill.
I understand.
My program is kind of based on that. I want to introduce slowly, and then after that we can think about small fees. I mean, for a hotel, they are working with the government, not with this one, with the future government, and it's going to be different. For a hotel, you need to have all these legal requirements, and it's easier to charge them. But the person doing a small repair, they are going to go at night and pull the trash in the next corner or everywhere. So.
No, I understand your point, but
Yep.
Like I said, you might be overwhelmed by requests for people to come pick up the stuff if you don't charge up front.
Yeah.
And second, with respect to selling at the perfect time, the only way you know if you sold the perfect time is in hindsight. So timing the market is difficult. Otherwise, we'd all be rich in the stock market.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's give all 6 teams a big round of applause. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of preparation for them to come up here and give us their presentation and then be grilled by these judges, which we really appreciate their efforts and putting some of these projects in very relevant content. So we're going to take an hour break. We're going to get some lunch, and we are going to be back here for 1:15. And then we're going to ask the judges to give us their thoughts on the teams, and we're going to start awarding the prizes. So stick on, and we are going to be doing a photo downstairs. So maybe before we grab lunch, we can go out to the yard and take a whole group picture. So let's do that first.